Namaskar everyone. Let us start our class with a prayer. This is from the Mahanirvana Tantra. One stanza from the Mahanirvana Tantra is on page 148 of this book Universal Prayers, the last one on that page. Om Bhayanam Bhayam Bhishanam Bhishananam Gati Praninam Pavanam Pavananam Mokṣyase Padanam Niyantrittvamekam Paresham Param Rakshanam Rakshananam. O Lord, you are the dread of even the dreadful, the terror of the terrible, the refuge of all beings, the purifier of all purifiers. You alone are the ruler of even the high-placed ones. You are the supreme over the supreme, the protector of the protectors. Our humble loving salutations to you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We used to chant this, some more verses from the Mahanirvana Tantra during the morning chanting in Chicago Vivekananda Vedanta Society during Swami Brahmarupananda's time. Let us continue from verse number 28 in chapter 9. Last time we were studying verse number 27, which is a very important verse. I can say one of the most important verses in the whole of the Gita, because this verse 27 in chapter 9 gives a way to remain connected with the divine at all times, no matter what we are doing. In whatever condition we are, whatever we are doing, wherever we are living, we can remain connected with the divine by doing all work as an offering to the divine. So in this verse, I'll chant verse number 27 again. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat Yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. O Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, offer as a gift. Perform as, whatever you offer as a gift, perform that as an austerity. Whatever austerity you perform, do all this as a dedication to me. That means everything that we do, regardless of the nature of the work, we should do it as an offering to the divine. The only exception is Nishiddha karma, as we saw last time, prohibited actions, immoral, illegal actions we should not do at all. Barring that, everything else that we do, of a secular nature or of a spiritual nature, should be offered as made as an offering to the divine. That means we spiritualize every moment of our life. Every moment of our life in the waking state is a spiritual experience. So that's a very important verse, and we have to practice it. Practice offering to the divine whatever the work that we do. Now, what is the result of doing this is explained in verse number 28. If we offer everything to God, all our actions to God, then what benefit will we gain from that? This offering is made, as we saw last time, not to fulfill God's needs. He doesn't have any need. He is the ruler of the whole universe. He is the creator. What does he need? But by offering, we are doing two things. One thing is we are becoming free from attachment to our work and its result. Second thing is we are expressing our love to the divine. Offering, giving something to somebody means not necessarily always to fulfill their needs, but to express our love, our happiness, our joy. So these two things you have to keep in mind when we offer everything to God. And one more thing to note is how to offer. Not in a physical sense. In a physical sense, how can we offer anything to God? Mentally. That is going to be explained in the 18th chapter, verse 57. Chetasa sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha. Chetasa, mentally. Chetas means mind. Sarvakarmani mai sanyasya, dedicating all actions to me. Mentally, we have to consider Lord God as the supreme goal of our life, matparaha. That will come in the 18th chapter, verse 57. Now we go to verse 28 in chapter 9. śubhāśubhaphalairevaṃ mokṣyase karmabandhanaiḥ sannyāsayogayuktātmā vimukto māmupaishyasi. Evam, in this way, by offering everything to God, all our actions to God, karmabandhanaiḥ mokṣyase, you will become free from the bondage of work. You will understand what bondage of work means. śubhāśubhaphalairevaṃ, by the good and bad actions, bad results of our work. Later on we will see in the 18th chapter, whenever we do any work, three kinds of results will come. Ishtam, anishtam, mishram. Agreeable result will come. Some part of the result will be nice, pleasant, agreeable, acceptable. We are happy. Some part of the result will be disagreeable. Same activity can produce both kinds of results that we know from experience. And sometimes, generally it is mishram, combined. Some part of it is good. When we do something, the result will come. Some of it will be good, acceptable, agreeable, we like it. Some of it will be not so good, we don't like it. This is what happens whenever we do any work. śubhāśubhaphalairevaṃ, by both these śubha, aśubha, auspicious and inauspicious, good and bad results, phala means result of work. Mokṣyase, you will become free. That is the bandhana. Karma bandhana means the bondage of work. Whenever we do some work, the result will necessarily come. We have to experience the result. If you do the work, if you are the agents, if you are the kartras, karta means agent, one who performs work. If you are the kartas, if you are the agents of work, if you do the work, bhoktritvam will come. Bhoktritvam means we have to go through the result of our experience. We have to enjoy or suffer the result of our work. If the result is pleasant, we enjoy. If the result is unpleasant, we have to suffer. That is inevitable. But when we offer all work to God, we are also offering the result of the work. We will be free from the result. We are not bound by the result of the work. That's how we stop accruing new impressions. Otherwise, all work will produce a visible result that we experience, sometimes immediately, sometimes later. Sometimes there is a big gap, time delay between the result, between the work and the result. It won't come immediately. Sometimes it will come immediately. That we saw before. If you plant a mango tree, it will not produce mango fruits next year. It will take 5 years or longer for the fruit to come. But if you plant a few coriander seeds in a pot, within 2-3 weeks you get the coriander leaves. You can use it in cooking. Quick result will come. When you touch a hot plate, the result will come immediately. There is no delay. So it depends on the nature of work. whether the result will come immediately or later after some time. It may come in the next life also. All of that will become free from all the result of the work that we do, good or bad or mixed, if we offer all work to God. Along with the work, the result is also offered to God. We will not be bound. śubhāśubhaphalairevaṃ karmabandhanaiḥ mokṣyase. You will become free. That is the result. So we will not accrue new impressions, and we will not create opportunity for next birth. Second line, sannyasa yoga yukta atma vimukto mam upaishyasi. Sannyasa yoga yukta atma means with the practice of the yoga of renunciation. Both yoga and sannyasa are there. Yoga means performing the work. When we perform work, we are always performing work. We can never be free from work. That we saw before. Even breathing, eating, talking, walking, sleeping, they are all work. We are always performing work. Yoga means performing work. Sannyasa means offering the result of our work, offering our work and the result of our work to the divine. So when we practice offering everything to God, all our actions and the results thereof, then we are practicing sannyasa, we are practicing renunciation. We renounce the work and its results. Such a person, sannyasa yukta atma, vimuktaha, becomes free from the result of work, bondage of work. Karmabandhanaiḥ vimuktaha, mam upaishyasi, you will reach me. Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, you will reach me. Mam upaishyasi, you will reach me, you will reach God. So these are the benefits of offering everything to God. Why we should offer everything to God? He doesn't need anything. This is the result. When we offer all our work to God, along with that we should offer all our possessions, all our whole life, ourselves to God. That's the ultimate offering. But here we are talking of work specifically. Work and its results. When we offer all our work along with their result to God, then what happens? We will become free from the bondage of work, from the good and bad results of our work. We will not be bound by the results of our work, and new impressions will not accrue by that work which is offered to God. That is the benefit. Then finally, mam upaishyasi, will reach God. That is the result. That means we experience liberation. Reaching God means liberation from the cycle of birth and death. See how direct this method is. For this we don't have to change anything. We don't have to leave the place of work and go to the forest or some other place. We can live where we are living. We can do whatever work we are doing. You don't have to change the work. Only we have to mentally, cetasa, offer all work to God. By doing that one simple thing, we reach liberation. Mam upaishyasi, we reach God. That is the benefit. That is why this instruction to offer everything to God comes several places in the Gita. It has already come in the 3rd chapter, verse number 30. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya. That's how the verse begins. Adhyatma cetasa. Doing all work as a servant of the Lord. Dasya bhava. Keeping the divine presence within us in mind. Taking the position, assuming the position of a servant of the Lord. The Lord is our Prabhu, our Master. I am His servant. That attitude is easy to practice. Adhyatma cetasa, mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma cetasa, nirashir nirmamo bhutva. Without expecting any result from our work, nirashi. Nirmama means giving the notion of I and mine. I did this work, I should experience the result. That I should be not there in our thinking. It's all the Lord. All work is His offering to Him His service. Then where is the I? I only happen to be the instrument, and I have been chosen as the instrument to do this work, which is itself a great gift. Any other person could have done this work, but I have been given the opportunity to do this work. Therefore, with great gratitude and joy, we have to perform all our work and dedicate all our actions and the results thereof to the Lord. That will lead us to liberation. Vimukto mam upaishyasi. Verse number 28. There are two terms which we can note. Is optional. One term is kartrutvam. Second term is bhoktrutvam. Kartrutvam means the notion that I am the doer of work, which is not a correct, it is a totally erroneous notion. Well, this Sunday, this weekend, I will be speaking about this topic, who is the doer? Are we the really doers of work? That question has very interesting answer. We will examine that in detail this Sunday. Kartrutva means the notion that I am doing the work, assuming that I am the body and the mind. That is a wrong notion. We are not the body and the mind. That will take us deeper into the basic notion of Vedanta, that I am not the body mind, I am the Atman. So we will not go that far or digress that far now. Kartrutvam, notion that I am the doer, I am the agent of work. That has to be given up. Then once you give up the notion of kartrutvam, if you are not the doer, then you are not the experiencer of the work. Then you don't have bhoktrutvam also. If I do something, I will get the result. I have to go through the result, good or bad. If I don't do anything, if I am not the doer, then I don't have to worry about the result of work which I didn't do at all. So we will become free from both kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam if you practice this instruction in verse number 927, dedicating all our actions to God. And this will lead us to liberation. Mam upaishyasi, that is the result. That's the benefit. So now we go to a slightly different topic in verse number 29. Here the Lord says, He is impartial. He does not favor somebody and does not work against somebody. To him, to the Lord, everybody is same, regardless of the nature of the person. Good person, bad person, wicked person, saintly person, men, women, educated, uneducated, poor, rich, doesn't matter. He is the same towards all. He treats everybody alike. Just like the sun. The sun does not favor somebody and put more light on someone, and does not put less light on. He finds the same. On all the objects he produces, he releases the same amount of energy. No distinction. Yet people are different. How the difference comes is going to be explained in this verse number 29. Verse 29. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya mayite teshu chapyaham. Towards all beings I am the same. Sarva bhuteshu aham samaha. First part of this verse. I am same towards all. That means he does not favor somebody and does not dislike somebody. He is the same towards all, God. Name dvesha asti. Dvesha means somebody whom he dislikes. There is nobody whom God dislikes. Name dvesha asti. Nacha priyaha. Na priyaha. There is nobody especially friendly towards him. And he is not specially friendly towards some people, and not unfriendly towards other people. And unfriendly towards other people. He is same towards all. Ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya. Those who worship me with devotion. Bhaktya ye mam bhajanti. Those who worship me with devotion. Mayite teshu chapyaham. I am in them. They are in me. Mayite. Te means they. May in me. They are in me. Those who worship me with devotion, they are in me. Aham cha api teshu. I am also in them. There is a special relationship between God and the devotees who worship Him. The question comes, what about those who don't worship Him? Large numbers of people don't worship God, they don't believe in the existence of God. What happens to them? Is God unfriendly towards him? The answer is no. Shankaracharya in the commentary gives an example how God is same towards all. But some people get the benefit of God's grace and some don't. It's not because God is friendly towards some and not friendly towards others. It's not because of anything on the part of God. It is the people who worship God, they get close to God, they get more benefit. Those who don't, they remain away from God, they don't get the full benefit that they could get if they only did worship God. The example, that is nice example that Shankara gives to explain this difference is Agnivat, like fire. Imagine that there is in your fireplace, in your home, fire is there. Either logs of wood are burning or gas is burning, fire is there in the fireplace. Those who get near, those who sit near the fireplace, they get more heat. Those who stay far away, 10 feet away from the fireplace, they get very little heat. Now, we cannot say fire is favorable to somebody, gives more heat to some people. Fire gives very little heat to some people. It's not the problem with the fire. It is the difference in the people, attitude of the people. Some people get close to fire and they get maximum heat in winter, in cold weather, very comfortable. But those who don't want to go, those sit far away from the fireplace, they get very little heat. Now, can we blame fire for that? Is the fire responsible for the difference between some people getting more heat, some people getting less heat? The fire has nothing to do. It produces same amount of heat. Fire produces same amount of heat towards all beings. But those who sit down close to the fire, they get the more benefit, more heat. Those who stay away, they get very little heat. In the same way, those who get close to God by worshipping Him, dedicating all actions to God, as we saw earlier, performing any kind of worship, japa, meditation, any kind of spiritual practice, worship, or some combination. Those who do that, they will feel the grace of God much more than those who don't do any of these things. There is no room for God in their lives. They are so busy with worldly activities and enjoyment and other things that there is no room. They don't feel the grace of God. All the grace of God is same towards all. From the God's point of view, there is no difference. He is same towards all. It is the people who create the difference. So that is the way to explain, understand this sentence, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha. There is nobody especially favorable to me or nobody whom I dislike. Dvesha means somebody whom I dislike. From the God's point of view, all are same to Him. He is same towards all. The same divine is present in the same way in all the beings. There is no difference. Some are more aware of it, some are unaware of it, they are not interested. He is present in the same way in all the beings, including inanimate beings, animals and plants, good people, bad people. That will come later in the 13th chapter and other 15th and 18th chapters. In the 13th chapter, verse 27, Swamiji quoted that verse in one of his lectures. Chapter 13, verse 27, the Lord says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, no exception. There is no fine print with the exception of no fine print in Vedanta. Whatever it says applies to all. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, samam tishtantam parameshwaram. The Lord sitting is present in the same way, samam, in the same way, alike. Not more in some, less in others. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Vinashyat means the bodies are perishable. Vinashi. The Lord is imperishable. Avinashita tadvidhi. Yena sarvamidam tatam. Second chapter that verse came. He is avinashi, imperishable. Bodies are perishable. Vinashyatsu sharireshu avinashyantam parameshwaram. The Lord is avinashi, imperishable. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati. He who sees, sees. Those who don't see, they don't see. They don't get it. He is present in all, in the same way. Not more in some, less in others. In people, good people, bad people, men, women, children, adults, any nationality, he is present in the same way. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati. He who sees, he sees. Those who don't see, they don't get it. Because they are not interested, or they don't know. So that is the meaning of this word. Name dveshyosti na priyaha samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha. From the Lord's point of view, there is no difference. Teshu cha api aham sabhavataha eva varte. In all those people who are away from me, who don't worship me, don't think about me, don't believe in me, in them also I am present. He is present in all, unconditionally. But the difference is whether we recognize God's presence, want to know God's presence or not. All people are not really equally interested in God. That came in the 7th chapter. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. 7th chapter, verse number 3, I think. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschinmam meti tattvataha tattvashaha sahasreshu manusyeshu. In thousands, among thousands of people, kaschid siddhaye yatati. One person here, one person there, even tries for siddhi means knowing God for liberation. Others are not interested. They are interested in other things. They are not all bad people, but they just don't happen to have interest in God realization. They are interested in worldly success and fame and other things. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatate siddhaye. Yatatam api siddhanam. Of those few who even try to realize God, kaschin mam tattvata veti. Only one rare person here and there succeeds in knowing God. So most people don't feel the necessity of knowing God. So they are happy with the world. That is why from God's point of view, there is no one favorite, there is no one whom he dislikes. Name dveshyosi na priyaha. Ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya. Those who worship me with devotion, mayite, they are in me, they are connected with me. Teshu api aham, I am also present in them. The relationship is very close, intimate between me and God, between a devotee and God. For those people who don't have any place for God in their lives, God is there in them also in the same way, not less. But they are not feeling the presence of God. They are not feeling the grace of God. They are not interested, or it's not, for some reason it's not possible for them to do any kind of spiritual practice. So they don't feel the same presence of God in them. They don't feel the presence of God in them. So that is the verse number 29, impartiality of God. Now comes a very interesting verse, couple of very interesting verses that give us great encouragement and a hope for everybody. Everyone can realize God. Even those who have committed serious mistakes, sinful deeds, everyone, no one is exempt, is available to everyone. That is explained in verse number 30 and 31. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyah samyag vyavasito hi saha. Very nice verse, promising hope for everybody. Sudurachara. Durachara means bad conduct, doing all kinds of wrong things. Sudurachara means a person who has made all kinds of sinful deeds. Apichet, even if such a person is there, even if a person has done all kinds of sinful deeds, Mam ananyabhak bhajate, worships me exclusively. At some point change will come in a person's life. There are many examples. Like Valmiki, famous example. He was a hunter. At one point suddenly change came. And he became the Adi Kavi, wrote Ramayana, first Kavi. That kind of change can happen, even in the lives of very sinful people. Apichet suduracharaha, even if a person has committed very serious sinful deeds, Mam ananyabhak bhajate. Ananyabhak means not thinking of other worldly things. Thinking of the Lord alone, worshipping God. Bhajate, worship in any way. Worship does not mean only ritualistic worship, any kind of worship. Repeating God's name is the best kind of worship, simplest kind of worship. Just repeating God's name. As we saw in the case of the Russian pilgrim, in the book The Way of the Pilgrim, I referred to that book earlier. That pilgrim, Russian pilgrim, he don't even know his name. He calls himself the pilgrim because he had no place to stay, no money, no job, could not work because hand was injured. His brother beat him up, burned the house and drove him out. Wife died, no job, nothing, not much education. So he wanted to walk towards Constantinople. This is a holy place for Christians. Just like Varanasi, Kashi is a holy place for Hindus. Our belief is if you go to Kashi and leave the body there, then we will get liberation. And the same way for Christians, Constantinople is the place. So I was walking towards Constantinople, constantly repeating Jesus' name, Jesus mantra. Very interesting book, The Way of the Pilgrim. The pilgrim continues the way. That is also a kind of worship. Simply, the simplest and best kind of worship is repeat God's name. No paraphernalia, no equipment, no education, one does not have to know Sanskrit or scriptures. Repeat God's name constantly. In that way or in any other way, many ways of worship. Mam ananyabhak bhajate, one who worships me without thinking of other things, making God the supreme goal of. Saha sadhureva mantavyaha, such a person, though he has committed sinful deeds, should be regarded as a sadhu. Saha sadhureva mantavyaha, we should regard him, consider him as a sadhu. Why? Because samyag vyavasitaha hi saha, such a person has made the right resolution and is going in the right direction, change the direction of the life. At one time he was a Sudurachara. He did all kinds of bad deeds. At some point change came and then he started worshipping God in any way without thinking of other things, not worldly things. Such a person should be considered as a sadhu regardless of his past, sinful deeds in the past. Because saha samyag vyavasitaha, he is moving in the right direction. From now onwards, he has changed the direction of his life. So the past does not matter. There is a saying that every saint has a sinful past, probably, and every sinful person can become a saint. No one is exempt from this. God realization is available to everyone, but we have to change the direction of our lives regardless of what has happened so far in our lives. That we should have forget. And from this moment onwards, if we dedicate our lives to God, worship God in any way that is possible for us. Many ways of worshipping God. Ritualistic worship can be done, pratima puja, japa stotra, chanting God's name, chanting or singing devotional songs, glories of God, japa stotra, all kinds of hymns are there. Sahasranamas, 1,000 names lists are there. Chanting any of them. Manasi puja, by doing mental worship without requiring any, that does not require any external paraphernalia. You don't have to have anything. You can close your eyes and do all the worship procedures, routines in your mind. Manasi puja. Then there is another kind of worship, soham puja uttamottama. That is for only for a small number of people who can say that I am he. Until that stage comes, the separation will be there. I am a devotee of God, I am worshipping God. I am a child of God, I am a servant of God, I am worshipping God, doing everything as a seva, service. That separation will be there, it's necessary. It will be there. Actually, some people prefer that separation. They don't want to stay Soham. Among them are Sri Ramakrishna, Hanuman and other people. They didn't want to have Brahmajnana. Because there all the separation will go away, only Brahman, no devotee, no child, no God, no nothing, nobody to worship, nobody to be worshipped. That is for some people who want that one. But the majority people, they prefer the separation. I am the child of God, I am the servant of God, I am a devotee of God, I am serving Him, worshipping Him by all our actions. That is necessary. In any way, Mam Ananya Bhakt Bhajate, one who worships God in any of these ways, or some combination of these ways. What happens to such a person? We should consider such a person as a sadhu. Sadhureva samantavyaha, because he is traveling in the right direction, made a right resolution, is going in the right direction. Samyak vyavasato hi saha. So that is one verse. Now the same topic continues in verse number 31. When such a person is there, what happens to such a person? Is explained in 31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Such a person, Kshipram means very quickly, does not take much time. Once you are determined to worship God and stay away from doing sinful deeds, then result will come quickly. Kshipram dharmatma bhavati, becomes a dharmatma, virtuous person, who does only the virtuous deeds. Quickly he becomes a virtuous person, righteous person, dharmatma. Shashvat shantim negachati, experiences permanent, lasting peace, which a sinful life does not give. If a person does sinful deeds, there is no peace. There is always worry, anxiety, fear, and bad result will come. That is all stopped. Shashvat shantim negachati, experiences lasting peace. Not temporary peace, permanent lasting peace. Kaunteya, O Arjuna, pratijanihi, proclaim, be firmly convinced and proclaim that name bhakta pranashyati. Those 4 words are very, very important. Name bhakta pranashyati. Those 4 words are the promise of God to us. If you only remain devoted to God, stay away from sinful deeds and worship God in any way that is possible, then what happens? Nothing bad will happen to that person. Me bhaktaha, my devotee, na pranashyati, will never perish, will never encounter evil. That's the promise of the Lord. So these two verses, 30, 31, they give us great hope. Regardless of our past, we may not have done any serious bad deed, but if you have wasted time, that's what many people do. We are not all really bad people doing sinful deeds, but we didn't have much interest in spiritual life. We did other things, pursued some profession and seeking success, things like that, which is not the best way to spend one's time. It's not a bad way, but not the best way. So we did not worship God, which we should have done in our past. Even for such people, if we just change our direction of our life, start worshipping God exclusively, then all these things will happen. We will become Dharmatma very quickly. Kshipram bhavati Dharmatma. No delay will be there. Shashvat Shantim Negachati. Experiences lasting peace, unconditional peace. Shashvat Shantim Negachati. Kaunteya or Arjuna Pratijanihi. Promise or proclaim. Pratijani means proclaim to everybody. What he should proclaim? Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perish. The Lord is saying, Me bhakta na pranashyati. My devotees shall never perish if he remains devoted to me. That's all that is required. Everybody need not go to the Himalayas or the forest and do meditation. Not necessary. Staying where we are, worshipping God. Simplest way to worship God is to repeat God's name and to offer all our work as dedication, offering to God. That we saw in verse 27. Whatever you do, offer it to me, the Lord said. That is also simplest worship of God. Worshipping God through all the activities we do. Because we are always doing some activity, we are always worshipping God. That will produce this result. Kshipram bhavati Dharmatma. Such a person quickly becomes a Dharmatma, virtuous person. Shashvat Shantim Negachati. Experiences lasting peace. Kaunteya or Arjuna Pratijanihi. Proclaim to everybody. Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perish. You should remember those 4 words. Name bhakta pranashyati. God has given that promise. So we have to remain devoted to God and He will protect us. He will provide us what we need and He will protect what we have. Yogakshemam mahamyaham. That came in an earlier verse in the same chapter. Now we go to verse number 32. Everybody is entitled to this. Society looks upon some segments of people, segments of society, they don't consider them as worthy. Some people are pampered as the best people. That's society's point of view, but not from God's point of view. To God, as you saw before, everybody is the same. No one is less, no one is more. He is same towards all. Whoever worships Him will get the benefit, will get liberation. Mam upaishyasi. Now let's do verse number 32. Mam yeparthavyapashritya yepisyo papayo nayaha striyo vaishyas tatha shudra tepi anti param gatim. Mam Partha or Arjuna, Mam Vyapashritya, seeking refuge in me. The Lord is speaking. Ashraya means refuge. Vyapashritya means taking refuge in the Lord. Generally we take refuge in worldly things, in property, money. If I have money, I will be safe. That is some people's contention, belief. They think that money will provide security. It will not. Up to some point, money is necessary to meet the basic needs, but after that, money will not protect from all our sufferings. If we become sick, money can buy medical care and medicines and everything, but there is no guarantee that a person will recover and enjoy good health. But that's what people think. Money is, I want to accumulate money, it will provide me security, I'll be safe. No, a devotee does not do that. Devotee considers God as the final refuge. If I take refuge in God, He will protect me under all circumstances unconditionally. That is the devotee's devotion. Mam vyapasritya, taking refuge in me, yepi ye papayoneha syuhu, tepi. Even those who are of a low birth. Papayone means children born in an immoral relationship, without any background. Father is not known, mother is drug addict sitting in jail. What a child will do? Who will bring it up? What kind of background, education, moral training will that child get? Such people, it is unfortunate, but there are people like that. They are called papayoneha, of a sinful birth, even of low birth. Even they, tepi, and women, striyaha, vaishyaha, people who pursue some one specific line of profession, trade and commerce, business, vaishyaha tatha shudraha. Society does not consider these people as worthy. There is no such thing in Vedanta. In Vedanta, everybody is same divinity in all. There is no difference from person to person. That's Vedantic view. But society does not always do that one. They consider some segments to be very preferable, enjoying privileges, and segments are at a disadvantage. Striyaha, even in this most advanced society in the United States of America in the 21st century, women do not get paid same as men for the same work. It's a fact. But from God's point of view, there is no difference. Men, women are same. Striyaha, vaishyaha, those who pursue some profession such as business, tatha shudraha, who are considered low class people. They don't have any privileges. They not entitled to any privileges. Shudraha. Tepi, they also param gatim yanti. They can also achieve the supreme goal. Paragati means supreme goal, which is liberation, God realization. This is the proclamation here. No difference. Regardless of what society thinks, from God's point of view, everybody is entitled to realization. Highest goal, param gatim yanti. Everyone can. Whatever society thinks, that's immaterial. That is a great promise here. Seeking refuge in me, depending on me, even people of low or sinful birth, as well as women, artisans and servants, achieve the supreme goal of life. No difference from God's point of view. Name dveshoti na priyaha, he said in the earlier verse. From God's point of view, there is no one who is preferable, there is no one who is not preferable. All are same. He is present in the same way in all the beings. But the people are different in their understanding, in their need for God realization. All are not interested. As you saw before in the 7th chapter, out of thousands, only one here and there even tries for God realization. Others are not interested. Though God is present in them also equally. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshvara. Those who see, they will see. Yah pashyati sapashyati. So no one is exempt. Tepiyati param gatim. They also achieve supreme goal, namely liberation. Then, same topic, 33. What to speak of Brahmanas and other punyaha, bhaktaha, devotees who are always dedicated to God, devoted to God, they automatically get liberation. There is no doubt about it. That is in verse number 33. Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarshyastatha anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. This sloka contains one very important instruction that we should all keep in mind and follow every day. The second line. Kim punar brahmana. What to speak of brahmanas? Brahmanas, those who are following the Vedic style of life, worshipping God and studying the scriptures and leading a virtuous life. Those people who follow a lifestyle of a Brahmana. Everybody born in a Brahmana family does not necessarily become a Brahmana. They may pursue some other profession, may not even worship God. By birth, one does not qualify to be a Brahmana. One who follows the lifestyle of a Brahmana, one who is interested in God realization, leads a virtuous life, such a person, tepi brahmanaha punyaha, those who lead meritorious life. Punya means merit, meritorious life, doing very good deeds, Bhakta, devotees. Rajarshayaha, Rajarshis means in earlier days, the kings used to be the promoters of Vedanta. They were Vedantins. They were great scholars and Vedantins. It's like Janaka, Ashwapati and other kings like that. They were great Vedantins. They were actually teachers of Vedanta, though they were Kshatriyas. They were Rajarshis. Rajarshi. They were Rajas, they were kings and they were Rishis at the same time. What about them? No doubt at all. Automatically they will get liberation, they will realize God. Tatha. Now, that means everybody, without exception, is entitled to God realization. But what we have to do? We have to be devoted to God. In some way we have to remain devoted to God and give up sinful deeds. Then everybody can realize God. The next line, second line in verse number 33, contains a very important instruction that we all should follow. Anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Imam lokam, this world in which you are now, human beings live. Manishya loka, Martya loka. This world, in this world, there is no happiness, asukham. Who says this? The Lord who created this world, who runs this world. He himself is saying, the Lord who created this world is running this world. He himself is saying there is no sukha in this world. And we are trying to find sukha in this world, where it cannot be found. That is the unfortunate thing. People trying to find happiness in worldly life, success, fame, money, relationships, family, job, etc. There is no sukha. The Lord himself says that one. Anityam, everything is temporary. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever in this world. Two qualities, anityam asukam lokam. In this world, everything is temporary and there is no joy. Joyless world. Having come to this world, evam prapya, lokam prapya, somehow we ended up in this world. Why and how? We don't have to worry much because we have to look at the solution. We are here now. What are we supposed to do? How to get out of this world and reach God? That should be our question. Why we came here? There are so many theories. We did good and bad deeds. We enjoy the fruit of prarabdha. We are born. Those theories will not solve the problem. Explanation will not solve the problem. Action will. So what am I supposed to do now? I am here. Why I came here, how I came here, that's we can discuss endlessly. But what am I saying? How can I get out of this place? Anityam asukam lokam. I am ended up in, I have come to this world which is temporary, everything is changing, nothing is permanent, asukha, there is no happiness. How am I going to get out of this world and reach God? That should be our question. What's the solution? Mam bhajasva, simple solution. Worship me. Lord is saying, worship me any way you like. There is not one way of worshipping. Everybody can follow their own way of worshipping God, and then we will reach God. Mam bhajasva anityam asikam lokam prapya. Having ended up in this world in which everything is temporary, in which there is no happiness, there is no joy, solution is Mam bhajasva, worship me. The Lord Himself is saying. Simple solution. How to worship? Many different ways. Offering all actions to God, the simplest way. Brother Lawrence did that one. He was worshipping, he was working as a kitchen worker, cook in a monastery kitchen in the 17th century. Then when no facilities there, no electricity, no running water, no hot water, everything had to be done manually, and he was injured, one leg was injured in war. But he did all work as offering to God, worshipping God through his work, as is told in verse 27. Whatever you do, offer it to me. That's what he did, but the Lawrence did. He did not study Gita. There was no way he could have studied Gita. But this knowledge is universal. Somehow we got the idea that all work is worship of God. He just did that one. And after some time, when he could no longer stand and work in the kitchen, he was transferred to the shoe repair shop. You should read that book, Practice the Presence of God. Very interesting book. There also the same, shoe repair was the job, not a pleasant job, a dirty job, repairing shoes of other monks, shoes which require mending, giving it back to them. He did that as worship. Who wears the shoes? All feet are God's feet. Brother Lawrence knew that one. Whoever wears the shoes that he repairs, who is wearing it? The Lord Himself. The Lord is present in all. Whoever eats the food he cooks, who eats? The Lord Himself eats everything. He is present in all as Vaishvanara. If you keep that one idea in mind that God is present in all, whatever work I do is His service, that's all that we are required to do. No need to change anything, go anywhere, or do something different, or study scriptures. They all come later, if necessary. But serving the Lord by doing all work as service, simplest way to worship, or repeating God's name as Russian pilgrim did. That's what we have to do. Having come to this human world, in which there is no happiness, asukham, anityam, everything is temporary, nothing, you can't depend upon anything, because today it is there, tomorrow it is not there. Everything is like that. Property, money, relationships, success, fame, health, beauty, youth, everything is today there, tomorrow is not there. You can't depend upon anything. Having come to this world, what's the solution? How to get out of this world to reach God? Mam bhajasva, worship me. This temporary, undependable nature of everything in this world is explained. We studied that in chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 22. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna had already explained that everything in this world is temporary. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is dependable. This moment it is there, next moment it is not there. 5:22. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Samsparshaja bhoga, all kinds of happiness arising out of contact with sense objects. Sparsha means contact with sense objects. Even the happiness coming from relationships is of that nature. Other person, if you depend upon somebody for happiness, whether it's a husband or wife or a child or whatever, is not permanent. Temporary relationships will end. One of these person will have to leave the scene. then it's not permanent. Anityam. Adyantavantaha kaunteya, O Arjuna, they all have a beginning and an end. Adi anta. Everything in this world, possessions, property, body itself, has beginning and an end. Nateshu ramate buddhaha. Buddha means a wise person, buddhiman, in this kind of happiness coming from other sense objects, other person or sense object, success, fame, etc. Naramate does not take any delight. See, in the story of Nachiketa, Nachiketa was offered many things by Yama. He was given the opportunity to become a king of a large kingdom, long life, queen and treasury, music and dance and chariots and horses and everything was offered. Long life was offered to enjoy. But Nachiketa had this wisdom. Everything is anityam asukham. One day it will go away. He says, no, I want only self-knowledge. That is viveka, vairagya, both. So that's what we have to do. His simple solution is Maam bhajasva, verse number 33, last part. That's all. 2 words only we have to remember. Maam bhajasva. Worship me, the Lord is saying. That's the way out. That's the way to get out of this world and reach God. So we will stop here, and God willing, we will continue next week. So let me say the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases and other problems. May there be no ill will among people, may there be harmony amongst all beings, may no one be subject to any kind of misery or suffering. Om peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts, Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature, Adi Daivika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.